Monkeys. You know 'em, you love 'em. You and I basically are one. When you boil it down, we are a bunch of fancy primates who get to worry about what ply toilet paper they're gonna buy the next time they venture out into the sun. But that's boring and lame. Let's talk about some funny little monkey stories. This is in fact, the monkey video. Not just monkeys, I guess, more like the primate video, but that really doesn't roll off the tongue, does it? Dogs are often referred to as man's best friend. We like to keep them around, taking them for walks, feeding them our food, picking up their shit, but we put up with them because they let us pet them, and that's pretty cool. It's probably no wonder then that our primate cousins would have caught on to how useful these little buggers can be, and that's exactly what's being observed in certain parts of the Middle East and Asia, where monkeys, and specifically baboons, have been caught kidnapping puppies to keep and raise as pets. Unfortunately, the only real source I could find validating these claims were some sketchy Facebook videos and this Reddit post. So the entire concept of baboon pet keeping very well may be a hoax created by Big Monkey. I was able to find a confirmed relationship between dogs and monkeys that hit the news, but it's not a very friendly one. In fact, it's far from it. Apparently, in Lavol, India, there have been reports of various groups of monkeys performing cartel-style revenge killings on the local stray dog population. According to the story, the dogs killed one of the monkeys' babies, so in retaliation they began to systematically wipe out the strays. The monkeys are known to have worked up a myriad of terrible ways of killing the pooches, from pulling them up trees before dropping them to their deaths, to leaving them on high rooftops to die of thirst and hunger, and everything in between. Now just like the raising dogs as pet stories, there is some debate on the validity of the monkeys' revenge-based background. While they very well could be leading a just crusade against the baby-murdering wild dogs, they just as easily, and probably more likely, are just, well, killing dogs. Because nature is just kinda like that sometimes. Really takes the wind out of your sails when you look at it like that, doesn't it? Okay, so I'll admit, the previous monkey segment may have been a bit of a cop-out, filled with rumors and claims that were kinda mostly unfounded. But fear not, this next one is real as the moon is fake. You're not fooling anyone, NSA. So in the typical baboon troop hierarchy, there are two distinct groups of males, the alphas and the betas. The alphas typically run the show, being physically larger and more appealing to the lady monkeys. They typically get first pick and preference when it comes to food and mates. Normally, this pans out pretty well for the alphas. They get all the broads and all the best food, leaving the less able-bodied betas to the wayside. But in this particular circumstance, being first in the food line wasn't at all beneficial. It actually just gave them tuberculosis. A troop of baboons in Kenya had taken to raiding a nearby village's trash heap for food, and as things typically went, the alphas were first in line to the feast. Unfortunately for the alphas on that one fateful day, the food was infected with bovine tuberculosis, which quickly killed off all those who ate it, and it just so happened to be all of the troop's alphas, leaving all the betas who hadn't been exposed to the garbage in charge. Researchers began to notice that in the absence of the generally more aggressive and violent alphas, the group became noticeably more peaceful, and conflicts among the primates over food and other heavily polarized monkey issues decreased. Sadly, a neighboring group of baboons took notice to the sudden lack of muscle defending all the food and lady baboons, and quite handedly wiped out the beta's peaceful clan. But not before we got this neat little story out of this whole ordeal. Generally, tool use is something almost entirely associated with humans and our dastardly opposable thumbs, but our close primate cousins have been seen to be steadily learning to operate and create basic tools from their environment. Apparently, groups of capuchin monkeys in South America have been within their own little stone age for nearly 3,000 years, making them the first living animals outside of humans to have their own archaeological history. That being said, by Stone Age, it means the monkeys have figured out that they can crack open nuts and stuff by hitting them with a rock, but it's honestly still really impressive. Luckily, you shouldn't have to worry about a Planet of the Apes scenario until they at least reach the Bronze Age, which hopefully isn't anytime soon. What is currently happening right now is that various groups of apes are being taught to understand the concept of money. That's right, very soon we will all be controlled by a relentless chimp banking clan of our own creation. Well, actually probably not, but we did figure out how to get chimpanzees to pay for prostitutes. Basically, a group of researchers from Yale New Haven Hospital were trying to teach a group of capuchin monkeys the concept of budgeting and economic scarcity by allowing them to buy various types of food with a set amount of tokens. Fascinatingly, the monkeys seemed to grasp the idea of budgeting and would save their allotted tokens to be able to afford more expensive, higher quality food. An unintended consequence of the experiment was the discovery that the monkeys also understood the concept of stealing, and when chaos erupted in the enclosure, as it so often did, I mean, it's literally a room filled with monkeys, some of the capuchins would take the opportunity to snatch others' unattended stash of tokens. Researchers also observed the monkeys exchanging tokens among themselves for things like toys, food, and, well, monkey business. Kinda enforcing the commonly referenced factoid that the oldest job in the world is most likely some kind of prostitution. Okay, so this final bit is a little out of left field, but it vaguely fits the theme of the video, so I think it deserves a highlight. The state of Florida has a monkey problem, a pretty serious one. In the 1930s, a guy by the name of Colonel Tooney released 6 rhesus macaque monkeys onto an island off the coast of Florida, hoping to create some sort of monkey-themed tourist attraction. What do you want? Unfortunately, Tony didn't realize that the macaques were actually quite competent swimmers, and literally hours after being left unsupervised, the monkeys swam the short distance back to the mainland and escaped into the Floridian jungle. Clearly not learning from his mistakes, Tony simply replaced them with 6 more monkeys, which, wouldn't you know it, escaped the island and straight into Florida. The monkeys quickly took to their new home and started to reproduce at an alarming rate, to the point where since 1984, Florida wildlife officials have had to remove over 1,000 feral monkeys from the state. Their efforts seem to be somewhat in vain, as the monkey population has continued to grow, spreading out all across the state. To make matters worse, a large amount of these monkeys somehow found themselves infected with herpes. In an effort to stop the spread of the ravenous STD-infected primates, up until 2012 it was perfectly legal to hunt them, but for some reason, the practice was highly frowned upon in the public. Without the threat of the hunters and clueless tourists going out of their way to feed the monkeys, their population is still growing. To this day, Florida still is struggling with an ever-growing monkey problem, and there is estimated to be over 1,000 macaques roaming the Florida Everglades. And there's really nothing anyone can do short of waging an all-out war on the primates, proving the age-old adage of nothing as fun as a barrel of monkeys is only true if they aren't infected with a sexually transmitted disease. So that was the monkey video. I've been wanting to talk about some weird primate antics for a while now, so it feels good to finally get around to it. If you have any suggestions you want to see made into a video, please let me know in the comment section down below. Hopefully a new video sooner rather than later, and as always, thanks for watching.